Good morning students. In this lecture we will study about Michelson-Morley experiment, one of the most important topic from the examination point of view. So this experiment, it was performed by Michelson and Morley in 1887 to determine the change in the velocity of light when observed from moving earth. And various experiments were performed to detect the change in velocity of light with respect to earth, and all got failed, and hence the existence of ether medium, that ether medium actually exists, it couldn't be established. And so this is Michelson-Morley experiment. This is one such experiment which was performed to detect that how the velocity of light it changes with respect to moving earth. So first of all, we'll discuss about the apparatus of this Michelson-Morley experiment. So here this is the source of light S, and here they have used a convex lens, and this source of light, it was placed at the focus of this convex lens, and then this beam of light, it will fall on this glass plate. This is glass plate G1, this is glass plate G2. Here we have two plane mirrors M1 and M2 and one telescope. So first of all, this source of light, it will continuously emit the beam of light, and it is placed at the focus of this convex lens. So हमें parallel beam of light मिलेगी. Then this glass plate, it is partially silvered. Its back surface is partially silvered. Partially silvered means out of the 100% light received by this glass plate, 50% will be transmitted through it and 50% will be reflected by it. So that is why this whole beam of light at the back surface of this glass plate G1, 50% of this light it is transmitted and 50% of the light is reflected back. So at the back surface of this glass plate G1, this beam of light, it gets splitted into two components, beam number 1 and beam number 2. Then we are using two plane mirrors for the reflection of beam 1 and beam 2. And this telescope, it is used to observe the interference pattern of the reflected beam and the transmitted beam. Or you can say that the interference pattern of beam 1 and beam 2, to observe the interference pattern of these two beams of light, we are using telescope T. And this glass plate G2, it is known as compensating plate. Why? Because this plate is just introduced to make the optical path lengths of the two components of beam equal. As you can see that this beam number 2, it passes through this glass plate G1 two times. After getting reflected from this back surface, it is passing through this glass plate, then falling normally on this plane mirror M2, and then getting reflected back from its surface. Then it is again passing through this glass plate G1. It means this beam number 2, it is passing through this glass plate G1 after suffering reflection from its back surface two times. But if in case we haven't used this compensating plate, then after getting transmitted from this glass plate G1, if this plate is not there, then this beam number 1, it is not passing through any glass plate any number of times. It is not passing through any glass plate. It will normally fall on this plane mirror M1, and then it will be reflected from this, and then it will fall on this glass plate G1, back surface of this glass plate G1, then it will be again reflected from this and then it will fall into the telescope. So just to make the optical path lengths of these two beams equal, this compensating plate is introduced. Now you can see that after getting transmitted through this glass plate G1, this beam number 1, it is also passing through this glass plate 2 times. First during this journey and second during return journey. So this compensating plate, it is making, or it is for the equalizing the optical path lengths of these two beams equal. So here is the theory which you can read, which I have already told you, and both of these glass plates, they are at an angle of 45 degree to the incident beam. And this whole apparatus, Michelson-Morley apparatus, it is placed on the surface of Earth, and they have supposed that, Michelson and Morley, they have supposed that the Earth, it is moving through ether with the velocity v, with orbital velocity v. So suppose if this is the coordinate system, then suppose Earth is moving along x-axis with orbital velocity v through the medium ether. And if this Michelson-Morley apparatus, it is placed on the surface of Earth, then this apparatus, it will also move in the direction of motion of Earth with velocity v. So interference pattern will be observed consisting of dark and bright fringes in the telescope. Then I have already told you about the functioning of the glass plate G2, which is known as the compensating plate. Now we will find out that what is the path difference between the two beams. So first we will calculate the time taken by the beam 1 for the round trip along x direction. Round trip means from this point to this point M1, and then from M1 to again this point. What is the time taken by this beam 1? So all the velocities, they were measured with respect to ether. So what is C? C is the velocity of light with respect to ether. And what is V? We have already supposed that this V is the orbital velocity of Earth with respect to ether. And apparatus is placed on the surface of Earth. So this is also the velocity of Michelson-Morley apparatus with respect to ether. And what we have to calculate is, the velocity of light beam 1 with respect to Earth. And suppose that V1 is the velocity of light beam 1 with respect to Earth, or you can say that with respect to apparatus. So what will be the value of V1? It is C minus V, but how? Initially, the beam number 1, it is moving from glass plate G1 to mirror M1. It means it is moving in this direction. Now, Earth is also moving along this direction through medium ether. And ether medium, it will face, this Earth will face ether wind of equal and opposite velocity in the opposite direction. So if this is the Earth which is moving through ether, or you can say that this is the apparatus which is moving through ether, then it will face ether wind of equal and opposite velocity, that is minus V, in the opposite direction. So this beam number 1, it is initially moving from glass plate G1 to mirror M1 in this direction, having velocity C with respect to ether. Then what will be the velocity of light with respect to Earth? It will be C minus V. because this ether wind, it is opposing this speed of light. It is opposing this light, opposing this beam number 1. So that is why the overall speed of light with respect to earth will be c minus v. And then during the return journey of beam number 1 after getting reflected from this mirror M1, now the beam 1 during its return journey after getting reflected from mirror M1, it will move in this direction, means along negative x-axis, and earth is moving in this direction. So ether wind will be acting in this direction. Now the direction of ether wind and the direction of beam 1, it is same, because now the ether wind will support the beam 1 of light. So in this case, during the return journey from M1 to glass plate G1, the velocity of light beam 1 with respect to earth will be v2, and it is equal to c minus of minus v, means c plus v. And what is the distance of both of the mirrors from glass plate G1? It is L. The optical path lengths of two beams, it is same, that is L. The distance of mirror M1 and M2 from glass plate G1, it is L. So from glass plate G1 to mirror M1, suppose T1 is the time taken by beam 1 and time is equal to distance upon speed, so it will be L upon c minus v. On reaching M1, it will be reflected back. So during its return journey, suppose T2 is the time taken by the light beam 1 from mirror M1 to glass plate G1, and it will be equal to distance, that is L, divided by speed, that is c plus v. So this I have already told you, you can read this. So what will be the total time taken by the light beam 1 for the round trip? What is the round trip? From glass plate G1, that is from point O to M1, and then from M1 to O. It will be the sum of T1 and T2, and suppose that total time is capital T1. So time taken by the light beam 1 from glass plate G1 to mirror M1, it is L upon c minus v, and this is L upon c plus v. So take L common and then take LCM. So after solving, you will get this time taken by the light beam 1 for the round trip OM1O. So now take this c square common and you will have this. 1 of c will be cancelled out. Now move this 1 minus v square by c square raised to power 1 to the numerator. The power will become negative. And now we know that what is the value of c? It is 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. And v is orbital velocity of earth. And orbital velocity of earth we have already calculated in the previous chapter in one of the articles, and it came out to be 3 into 10 raised to power 4 meter per second. And when you will divide this v by c, you will get 10 raised to power minus 4. It means the value v by c, it is very, very less than 1. And we know that whenever we have this value less than 1, then we can apply binomial theorem here. 1 plus x raised to power n, and if this x is less than 1, then you can use binomial theorem. Higher terms will be neglected. Why? Again, because this x is small, then in higher terms we will have x square, x cube, x4 and so on, which will make the value of x square, x cube, x raised to power 4, x raised to power 5 even smaller than x. So the higher terms are neglected. So after applying binomial theorem, what we will have? 1 plus n is minus 1, x is minus v square by c square, minus and minus it will become plus. So we'll have T1 is equal to 2L by C into 1 plus V square by C square. So now we will calculate the time taken by light beam 2 for the round trip OM to O. And for this, as Earth is moving along x-axis with velocity v, and this apparatus is placed on the surface of Earth, so it will also move with velocity v along with Earth. So this mirror M2, it will also move from this point to this point. And suppose as this light beam 2, it is moving in a direction perpendicular to the motion of Earth. So suppose u vector, it is the effective velocity of beam 2 along y-axis or in y direction. And we all know that Earth is moving along positive x-axis with velocity v, so it will face ether wind of velocity v in the opposite direction. And c is the velocity of light beam with respect to ether. So from this, applying triangle's law of vector addition, this u vector, it will be equal to c vector plus v vector. And what will be the value of c? It will be u minus v. And now take the dot product of the c vector with the c vector. And on right hand side, you will have the dot product of u minus v vector with the u minus v vector. And you will get this. And here you can see, after multiplying, after taking the dot product, here you will have 2u dot v. And we know that dot product of two vectors a dot b, it is always equal to ab cos theta, where theta is the angle between a vector and b vector. So here what is the angle theta between u vector and v vector? U vector and v vector both are perpendicular because v is along x-axis, u is along y-axis. So cos 90 will be 0. So that is why this u dot v is 0. So the value of c square is just u square plus v square, and we have to find the value of u, that is effective velocity of beam 2 along y-axis. It is square root of c square minus v square. So now what will be the time taken by the beam 2 from O to M2? It will be L upon U, means L upon root c square minus v square. And similarly from M2 to O, it will be again L upon root c square minus v square. So suppose time from O to M2 is T1 dash and time taken for the return journey is T2 dash. Now what will be the total time taken by beam 2 for the round trip from O to M2 and M2 to O? It will be the summation of these two times, T1 dash and T2 dash. So it will be this. Now again take c square common from the denominator like this. Then take its square root. It will be c. And now move this term to the numerator and its power 1 by 2, it will become negative. Again, because this v by c is less than 1. So this v square by c square, it will be even smaller than 1. So we can use binomial theorem. Means 1 plus n into x. Higher terms are neglected because this v square by c square is very, very smaller than 1. So higher terms will be even smaller. So after solving this, time taken by light beam 2 for its round trip, it is capital T2. Now as you can see, the expression for both the times T1, that is the time taken by beam 1, and the time taken by beam 2, that is T2, that is different. It means there is difference in time. So what will be the time difference between the two beams for their round trips? It will be suppose t, that is t1 minus t2. So putting the values of t1 and t2, you will get this. So this is the time difference between the two beams for their round trips. So what will be the path difference between them? If this is the time difference, what will be the path difference? So the path difference is the distance. So it will be speed into time. Speed of light is c into time difference is L v square by c cube, that we have already calculated. So the optical path difference delta x between the two beams is this. Now because of this path difference, both Michelson and Morley, they were expecting the shift in the fringe pattern, shift in the fringes of the interference pattern. How? They were expecting that this will be the optical path difference between the beam 1 and beam 2, and then they rotated the whole apparatus by 90 degree, and when the whole apparatus was rotated through 90 degree, what happened? Mirror M1 took the place of mirror M2 and mirror M2 took the place of mirror M1. It means now the two beams will interchange their path. Now this OM2, which was initially perpendicular to the incident beam, now this OM2, it will become parallel to the incident beam, and OM1, it will become perpendicular to the incident beam. It means both the times capital T1 and capital T2, it will interchange. It means path difference will also interchange. This T1, it will become this, and this will become this. So this path difference, it will become, this time difference, it will become negative, minus LV square by C cube. It means this delta x will change from plus delta x to minus delta x. So now what will be the total path difference? This path difference is the difference of the optical path difference when the whole apparatus, it was rotated through 90 degree. And suppose that path difference is delta. So what is this? It is the change in the optical path difference between the two beams from delta x to minus delta x due to the rotation of the apparatus through 90 degree. So it will be 2 delta x. Delta x is LV square by C square. And now because of this non-zero path difference, because of this change in path difference, there will be shift of the fringes in case of interference pattern. It means fringes will displace from their position. So now what will be the order of displacement of this fringe pattern? Suppose the number of fringes which shift on rotating the apparatus through 90 degrees, suppose it is delta n, and we know that x is equal to n lambda, so n will be equal to x by lambda. So here instead of x we are using change in path difference as delta, so delta upon lambda, it is equal to the number of shifts, number of fringes which got shifted. So put the value of lambda, put the value of delta here, and you will get this. And Michelson and Morley, they have used L is equal to 11 meters, lambda is equal to 5900 angstrom. We already know orbital velocity v is equal to 3 into 10 raised to power 4 meter per second. That is the velocity of Earth with respect to ether. This is c. So putting all these values, the fringe shift that was expected by Michelson and Morley, it was 0. approximately approaching to 0.4. So according to Michelson and Morley, if ether medium actually exists, then there should be the phase shift, there should be the fringe shift of 0.4. Theoretically, this was done theoretically, and what they obtained experimentally, it was just opposite. So they were expecting the fringe shift of 0.4 if ether medium actually exists. So or you can say that if velocity of earth with respect to ether is v and velocity of light with respect to ether was c, then fringe shift of 0.37 was expected. Or you can say that if ether concept is valid, then this fringe shift was expected. And the Michelson-Morley interferometer, which was used for the measurement of this fringe shift, it was capable of detecting the fringe shift of 1/100th part of a fringe. But this interferometer, it was unable to detect any fringe shift. And the observations were made day and night during all the seasons of the year, but this expected fringe shift of 0.37, it was not observed experimentally. Means they had not obtained any fringe shift experimentally. Experimentally the fringe shift was 0. Means they obtained null result. Then several attempts were made to explain this null result, that why no fringe shift was observed. It was explained later. Many attempts were made to explain this. And the first concept that was used to explain the null result was ether drag. Now what is this concept ether drag? इस concept के according कि जो हमें null result मिला है, what is null result, कि एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि फ्रिंज शिफ्ट होगी, बट एक्चुअली में जब एक्सपेरिमेंटली किया तो कोई भी फ्रिंज शिफ्ट नहीं हुई. द शिफ्ट इन द फ्रिंज पैटर्न वाज 0. डेल्टा एन केम आउट टू बी 0. सो वी नो दैट अर्थ इज मूविंग थ्रू ईथर. सो समवन ट्राइड टू एक्सप्लेन दैट कि जो अर्थ है जब वो ईथर में से मूव कर रही है तो वो ईथर को अपने साथ ड्रैग कर रही है, कंप्लीटली ड्रैग कर रही है. मीन्स इसकी एग्जांपल आप ले लो कि आपके पास कोई एक वेट बॉल है. अगर वो वेट बॉल किसी पाउडर में से या बोल लो आप मिट्टी में से रोल करेगी, तो जो मिट्टी होगी, जो सॉइल होगी बच्चे, वो वेट बॉल पे लग जाएगी. सो जब वेट बॉल किसी भी फाइन पाउडर पे के ऊपर में से रोल करेगी तो इट विल ड्रैग सम ऑफ द पाउडर विद इट. वाई? बिकॉज वो जो पाउडर होगा वो उस वेट बॉल के साथ, उसकी सरफेस के साथ स्टिक कर जाएगी. सो इन द सेम वे दे ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन दैट एज अर्थ इज मूविंग थ्रू ईथर. सो जब अर्थ ईथर में से मूव कर रही है तो वो ईथर को अपने साथ कंप्लीटली ड्रैग कर रही है. मीन्स अर्थ जो है वो ईथर को अपने साथ पुल कर रही है, खींच रही है. और ये जो पुल कर रही है वो 100% पुल कर रही है. इट मीन्स अगर अर्थ v वेलोसिटी से मूव कर रही है और जिस ईथर को वो अपने साथ ड्रैग करेगी तो वो भी तो, क्योंकि एक तरह से वो जो ईथर है वो अर्थ की सरफेस के साथ स्टिक कर गया है, तो एक तरह से वो भी तो v वेलोसिटी से मूव करेगा. अगर अर्थ भी v वेलोसिटी से जा रही है, ईथर भी उसके साथ v वेलोसिटी से ड्रैग हो रहा है, इट मीन्स अर्थ की वेलोसिटी विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ईथर तो फिर 0 हो जाएगी, क्योंकि दोनों की सेम वेलोसिटी है. सो एक दूसरे के रिलेटिव तो वेलोसिटी क्या हो जाएगी? 0. सो अगर वो रिलेटिव वेलोसिटी ऑफ अर्थ विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ईथर अगर 0 हो गई तो फ्रिंज शिफ्ट क्या आएगी? दिस इज द फॉर्मूला फॉर फ्रिंज शिफ्ट. अगर वो रिलेटिव वेलोसिटी ऑफ अर्थ विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ईथर अगर वो 0 है, बिकॉज दोनों की अगर स्पीड सेम है, तो फ्रिंज शिफ्ट भी 0 आ जाएगा. सो इन दिस मैनर somebody tried to explain that हमें नल रिजल्ट मिल रहा है, हमें कोई फ्रिंज शिफ्ट ऑब्जर्व नहीं हो रही एक्सपेरिमेंटली, तो वो इस रीजन के अकॉर्डिंग नहीं हो रही. बट दिस वॉज ऑल थ्योरेटिकल. This theory, it was all theoretical. So this was the first attempt made by someone to explain the null result of Michelson-Morley experiment. तो अगर हम ईथर ड्रैग की जो एक्सप्लेनेशन दी, अगर हम उसे एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, तो अगर हम ईथर ड्रैग की एक्सप्लेनेशन को एक्सेप्ट करेंगे तो उसके बाद काफ़ी सारे फिनोमिना हैं जो हमारे नेचर में होते हैं, तो हम उन्हें एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकते. क्योंकि जो ईथर ड्रैग का कंसेप्ट है इट इज जस्ट अ थ्योरेटिकल कंसेप्ट, जस्ट किसी चीज को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए। सो फर्स्ट जो है जिसे हम एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकते अगर हम ईथर ड्रैग की जो एक्सप्लेनेशन है अगर हम उसे अडॉप्ट करते हैं देन, सो फर्स्ट है then we cannot explain the phenomena of aberration of light from the stars. This phenomena, it cannot be explained if the concept of ether drag is true. And second is, what is the property of ether? We have already studied in the previous lecture that property of ether is transparent, highly elastic, and it is transparent. And we know that any transparent body, it doesn't drag the light waves with itself. It allows the light pass through it. Any transparent body, we know that it always allow the light to pass through it, and it doesn't drag the light waves with itself. Hence, light waves are not found to move with the velocity of transparent object. Then how can you say that this moving earth, it can drag the ether with it? Because ether is a transparent medium and earth will move through it. So ether cannot be dragged with earth. Why? Because ether is transparent according to its property. Then second attempt was made by Fitzgerald and Lorentz in 1983. What they suggested? They suggested that when any body, it moves parallel to the direction of Earth's motion, then length contraction occurs. They said that when a body, it moves in a direction parallel to the direction of motion of Earth, then that body gets contracted by this factor. And when the same body, it is moving perpendicular to the direction of motion of Earth, no such contraction occurs. So, in parallel direction, the light beam 1, it is covering distance L, and that L, it is light beam 1, it is covering distance, it is moving in a direction parallel to the direction of motion of Earth. So this L, it will change to L root 1 minus v square by c square in our case. And for beam number 2, the direction of motion is perpendicular to the Earth. So L, optical path length, it will remain same as L. So the time taken by beam 2, it will remain same, but the time taken by beam 1, it will change.